Ready, because today we're taking a deep dive into the world of octopuses. You
Yeah,
know, those mysterious and I'd even say almost alien creatures of the deep.
definitely.
We've got a ton of scientific articles and videos here.
Wow.
And honestly, some of this stuff in here is absolutely mind-boggling.
I believe
I
it.
mean, we're talking 3 hearts,
Yeah.
blue blood,
Uh-huh.
and get this,
What?
they have neurons in their arms.
Oh, wow.
So are you ready to have your perspective on intelligence totally flipped?
I think so, yeah. I'm really excited to learn more about these creatures.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And it's not just their physiology that's fascinating,
Right.
but it's really what it tells us about their evolutionary journey and the sheer ingenuity of nature.
Absolutely.
To think these creatures have been around for 500 million years.
It's incredible.
That's longer than dinosaurs.
I know, it's mind-blowing.
They've witnessed multiple mass extinctions. And yet here they are,
Yeah, they're survivors.
500 million years.
It's hard to even comprehend.
I know, it's just incredible. Talk about resilience.
For sure.
But they didn't always look like the 8-armed brainiacs we know today, did they?
Not at all.
So tell me about that.
Well, they actually evolved from shelled mollusks, kind of like the nautiloids you might have seen.
Oh, interesting.
Shedding that shell, though, was a total game changer.
How so?
Well, it allowed them to become these incredibly agile, soft-bodied predators we see today, navigating complex environments with amazing flexibility.
So that was a really smart evolutionary move.
It seems so.
Yeah. Okay, but let's get back to the 3 hearts and blue blood for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just wild.
It is pretty crazy.
It's like something out of science fiction.
I know, right?
How does that even work?
Okay, so their circulatory system is unlike anything we see in mammals.
Uh-huh.
2 of their hearts pump blood to the gills where it picks up oxygen.
Okay.
And then the 3rd heart circulates that oxygenated blood throughout the body.
So they have like a 2-pump system for the gills, and then a separate pump for the rest of the body.
That's right.
Fascinating. And the blue blood, is there some evolutionary advantage there?
Definitely. Well, it's due to hemocyanin, a copper-based molecule that carries oxygen instead of the iron-based hemoglobin we have.
So instead of iron, they use copper.
Exactly. And copper, when bound to oxygen, appears blue.
Ah, that's why their blood is blue.
Right. And this hemocyanin is actually more efficient than hemoglobin in low oxygen environments.
So it's perfect for life on the ocean floor.
Exactly.
So it's not just a cool quirk,
No.
a vital adaptation.
Absolutely.
And what about their brains?
Oh, yeah.
I've heard their nervous system is totally decentralized.
It's true.
So are they basically swimming around with 8 little brains?
It's not quite that simple.
Okay.
But their nervous system is definitely unlike any other. 2/3 of their 500 million neurons are located in their arms, not their central brain.
Wow. So most of their neurons are in their arms.
Exactly.
What does that mean?
Well, this means each arm can act semi-independently,
Go ahead.
exploring, tasting, feeling, even solving problems without direct input from the central brain.
Hold on. So each arm can make decisions on its own.
To a certain extent, yes.
That's incredible.
It really is. Imagine the processing power that requires.
Wow.
And remember, their suckers aren't just for grabbing. They can taste and feel simultaneously.
Oh my God.
It's like having 8 tongues, each with its own mini brain, constantly exploring the world.
Talk about sensory overload.
Right!
Okay, now my mind is really starting to melt.
I know, it's crazy.
It's like they've got 8 separate personalities all working together.
In a way, yeah.
And on top of all that, they're famous for being escape artists and problem solvers.
Oh, yeah, they're clever.
I remember reading about one that figured out how to unscrew a jar to get to the food inside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it is.
Yeah, that's just one example among many, though. There are tons of stories of octopuses, dismantling equipment in their tanks, squeezing through impossibly small spaces, even learning to recognize individual humans.
No way.
Yeah. The more we study them, the more we realize their intelligence is really multifaceted.
So they're not just clever.
No.
They're learning and adapting to their environment
Exactly.
in a way that really challenges our understanding of intelligence.
It really does.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And we haven't even touched on their camouflage skills.
Right.
I mean, they can change color and texture instantly,
It's unbelievable.
practically vanishing before your eyes.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Well, it's all thanks to specialized cells called chromatophores and iridophores.
Okay.
Chromatophores contain pigments that can expand or contract to change the skin's color,
Uh-huh.
while iridophores reflect light to create shimmering, iridescent effects.
So it's like a high-definition display screen built right into their skin.
Exactly.
Wow. So they can literally disappear into the background.
Pretty much.
That must be incredibly useful for both hunting and avoiding becoming someone else's lunch.
It is. It's a huge advantage.
Okay, so picture this.
Okay.
An octopus lying in wait on the seafloor.
Yeah.
It can perfectly mimic the colors and textures of the surrounding rocks or coral,
Right.
becoming practically invisible to unsuspecting prey.
It's like they become part of the scenery.
And if a predator comes along,
Yeah.
they can disappear just as quickly,
Oof.
leaving the would-be attacker utterly confused.
Totally bewildered.
Talk about the ultimate disappearing act.
It's pretty impressive.
It really is. But what happens if the camouflage fails? What other defenses do they have? I know they can ink, right?
They can. And the ink is more than just a smokescreen.
Oh, really?
It actually disrupts a predator's senses, allowing the octopus to make a quick getaway.
Wow, so it's like a sensory overload for the predator?
Exactly.
And if all else fails,
Yeah,
they can even detach an arm.
that's right.
What
It's a
age-
dramatic escape strategy.
It's like something out of a horror movie.
I know, right?
The arm continues to writhe and distract the predator
Yeah.
while the octopus escapes.
Wild.
Okay, now that is just wild. But they can regrow their arms.
They can. It
Yeah.
takes time, but
Yeah.
they can fully regenerate a lost limb.
That is amazing. It's just another example of how amazingly adaptable they are.
For sure.
So we've got these super intelligent, shape-shifting escape artists
Uh-huh.
with 3 hearts and blue blood.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. And now I'm wondering, what about their love lives?
Oh, yeah.
I have a feeling things are about to get interesting, folks.
You're not wrong.
All right, so tell me more about the octopus love life.
Okay, so the reproductive cycle of an octopus is certainly unique.
Uh-huh.
It's a story of dedication and sacrifice that really speaks volumes about their evolutionary strategy.
Okay, I'm hooked.
All right.
Tell me more.
Well, after mating, the female lays thousands of eggs and dedicates the rest of her life to guarding them.
Thousands.
Yeah, thousands. She won't eat, she won't leave them, and tragically she'll die shortly after they hatch.
Wow. Talk about a devoted mother. It's heartbreaking, but also incredibly inspiring. Is this self-sacrifice driven by some kind of biological imperative?
Yeah, scientists believe it's hormonally driven. The effort of, producing and guarding the eggs triggers a cascade of changes in her body that ultimately lead to her death. It's like her entire being is focused on ensuring the survival of the next generation.
Wow. And what about the males? Do they stick around to help?
Unfortunately not. Males also die shortly after mating. It seems their life cycle is geared towards this single reproductive event, a burst of energy aimed at perpetuating the species.
It really makes you reflect on the diversity of life strategies in nature.
Yeah.
So much energy and sacrifice poured into creating the next generation. It's almost poetic in a way.
Yeah.
But speaking of challenges, I can't help but think about how these incredible creatures are faring in our rapidly changing world.
Right.
With climate change, pollution, and overfishing, it must be tough being an octopus these days.
You're right to be concerned. Octopuses, despite their resilience, are facing a growing number of threats.
Yeah.
Climate change is a big one.
Yeah, in what way?
As ocean temperatures rise and acidity increases, it could directly impact their physiology and survival.
We talked about their blue blood being an adaptation for low oxygen environments.
Right.
Does that mean they're particularly vulnerable to these changes?
It's a valid concern. Warmer waters hold less dissolved oxygen,
Right.
which puts a strain on any creature's respiratory system. And the increased acidity can interfere with the function of hemocyanin, their oxygen-carrying molecule. So yeah, they're facing a double whammy.
That's alarming. And then, of course, there's the issue of habitat destruction and overfishing.
Yeah, those are huge problems too. Habitat loss is a major issue for countless marine species.
Yeah.
And octopuses are no exception. Coastal development, pollution, and destructive fishing practices all contribute to the degradation of their habitats.
What kind of habitats do they need?
Well, they need healthy coral reefs, kelp forests, and rocky crevices to thrive.
And overfishing. I know they're considered a delicacy in some cultures, so I imagine the demand is increasing.
It is, and that's a worry. The demand for octopus as a food source is growing, and if we don't manage these fisheries sustainably, we risk overexploitation and potential collapse of some populations.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
We've learned about these incredible creatures, their intelligence, their unique biology, their fascinating life cycle, and now the sobering reality of the threats they face. What can we do to help ensure the survival of these ancient and amazing animals?
Well, there are steps we can take both individually and collectively.
Okay, like what?
Supporting sustainable seafood practices is crucial. Choosing octopus from well-managed fisheries can help reduce the pressure on wild populations.
That makes sense. What else can we do?
Reducing our carbon footprint is essential for mitigating climate change,
Right.
which, as we discussed, poses a serious threat to octopuses and all marine life. Simple things like conserving energy using public transportation and making eco-conscious choices can add up to make a real
And what
difference.
about supporting organizations that are working to protect ocean habitats and marine life?
Absolutely. There are so many dedicated organizations doing incredible work to conserve marine ecosystems. Donating to them, volunteering your time, or simply spreading awareness about their efforts can have a tangible impact.
It seems like education and awareness are key.
I think so.
The more people know about these amazing creatures, the more likely they are to care about their fate.
Exactly. These aren't just mindless sea monsters. They're intelligent, complex creatures with a rich and fascinating existence. Once you see an octopus up close, witnessing their curiosity and problem-solving skills, you can't help but feel a sense of awe and a desire to protect them.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the wonders of the octopus world. But I have to admit, I'm still a bit creeped out by the idea of a creature with so much intelligence being so different from us. It's almost alien.
I understand octopuses really challenge our preconceived notions about intelligence and what it should look like. They force us to confront the limits of our understanding and remind us that there are many different paths to cognitive complexity. We humans are just one expression of intelligence, not the blueprint.
That's a humbling thought. And a little unsettling, to be honest. It makes you wonder if their decentralized nervous system allows for such a high level of cognitive ability, what other forms of intelligence might be out there, both here on Earth and perhaps beyond.
It's a question worth pondering. The octopus is a powerful reminder of how much we still have to learn about the universe and the incredible diversity of life within it. We're just beginning to scratch the surface.
Well said. Okay, we've talked about their evolution, their anatomy, their intelligence, those amazing camouflage skills, their rather poignant life cycle, and the threats they face. Is there anything else we should know about these cephalopod wonders? What about their habitat and lifestyle? Where do they hang out? What do they eat? How do they spend their days?
Well, octopuses are found in all the world's oceans, from warm tropical waters to the frigid depths of the Arctic.
Wow, so they're everywhere.
Pretty much. They're incredibly adaptable when it comes to habitat, making their homes in coral reefs, rocky shores, kelp forests, and even the open ocean.
So they're not picky about their postcode.
Not particularly. They're masters of blending in and making the most of their surroundings.
That makes sense given their shape-shifting abilities. So what do they eat? Are they picky eaters or more of a take-what-you-can-get kind of creature?
They're definitely opportunistic carnivores with a diverse diet that includes crabs, lobsters, shrimp fish, and even other cephalopods.
Wow, so they'll even eat their own kind. That seems a bit harsh.
It's a matter of survival in a competitive environment. They've got to fuel those big brains somehow. And they're incredibly skilled hunters utilizing their intelligence and dexterity to capture prey.
So tell me about their hunting techniques.
Well, they might use camouflage to ambush their targets or their incredible flexibility to squeeze into tight spaces and surprise their meals.
So they're stealthy and cunning.
Hmm.
What else do they use to catch their prey? They don't have claws or sharp teeth, do they?
They do have a sharp beak, which they use to deliver a venomous bite.
Wait, venomous?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh yes, their saliva contains a neurotoxin that quickly immobilizes their prey. Don't worry though, it's not usually dangerous to humans unless you happen to be allergic.
Okay, good to know. So we've got stealth, cunning, and venom. It's a pretty impressive hunting arsenal. But even with all their skills and adaptations, they still face those threats we talked about earlier. It seems almost unfair that such adaptable creatures are struggling to survive because of human activities.
It highlights the interconnectedness of all life on Earth and the ripple effect our actions can have. What might seem like a minor change to us, like a slight rise in ocean temperature, can have a profound impact on delicate ecosystems.
It's a sobering reminder that we need to be more mindful of our impact on the planet. We can't afford to lose creatures like the octopus. They're too valuable both ecologically and in terms of what they can teach us about intelligence adaptation and the sheer wonder of the natural world.
I couldn't agree more. They're a symbol of the ocean's resilience and a reminder of the need to protect its fragile beauty.
Well, this deep dive has certainly been an eye-opening experience. I'm both amazed and a little bit terrified by these creatures. They're so intelligent, so adaptable, and yet so vulnerable to the changes we're inflicting on the planet.
Their vulnerability underscores the urgent need for action. We can't afford to wait. We need to make changes now to protect these incredible creatures and the ecosystems they depend on.
Absolutely. But you know what? I also find their resilience incredibly inspiring. Despite all the challenges they face, they keep adapting, keep evolving, keep finding ways to thrive. It gives me hope that we can do the same, that we can find ways to live in harmony with nature and ensure the survival of these incredible creatures for generations to come.
That's a powerful message to take away from this deep dive. We have a lot to learn from octopuses, not just about intelligence and adaptation, but about resilience and the will to survive.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's one final mind-blowing fact about octopuses that you can share with our listeners? Something that will leave them wanting to learn even more about these fascinating creatures.
It's true, the more we learn, the more we realize just how much there is still to know. And that's what makes studying the natural world so captivating. It's just a never-ending journey of discovery.
Speaking of discoveries, there's one aspect of octopus behavior that we haven't really touched on yet.
Hmm.
Their sleep. I've read that they might even dream.
Oh, wow.
Is there any truth to that?
It's still a bit of a mystery, but there is some evidence to suggest that they experience something similar to sleep cycles.
Oh, really?
Researchers have observed them, changing color and texture while resting,
Oh,
almost like they're playing out scenes in their minds.
oh, they might be having visual dreams.
It's possible.
That's incredible. What do scientists think is happening in their brains during these episodes?
Well, it's thought that they might be consolidating memories or processing information gathered during their waking hours.
Uh-huh.
Just like how we replay events or have vivid dreams, octopuses might be doing the same thing, but in a visually driven way.
That's amazing. It makes you wonder what those dreams look like.
Yeah.
Are they hunting for crabs, escaping from predators, or maybe even decorating their dens with those shiny objects they collect?
We can only imagine. It's one of the many mysteries that still surround these fascinating creatures. And it really speaks to the vastness of what we still don't know about the animal kingdom and about intelligence itself.
Right.
The octopus is like a living puzzle, constantly challenging our assumptions and expanding our understanding of what's possible.
Well said. They're a living reminder that the world is full of wonders, just waiting to be discovered. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of octopuses, what's one final thought you'd like to leave our listener with? Something that will inspire them to keep exploring and learning.
Okay, well, if you ever have the chance to encounter an octopus in the wild, observe it with respect and a sense of wonder.
Yeah.
Remember that you're witnessing a creature that represents millions of years of evolution, a being with a unique intelligence and a captivating way of life. Let it be a reminder of the incredible diversity of life on our planet and the importance of protecting it.
Beautifully put. And if you happen to be near an aquarium with an octopus exhibit, I highly recommend paying them a visit. You might just be surprised by what you see.
You really might, and who knows, you might even catch a glimpse of one of those color-changing sleep episodes.
Oh, yeah.
It's a truly unforgettable sight.
Well, this has been an incredible journey into the world of octopuses. I feel like we've only scratched the surface, but it's definitely left me with a sense of awe and a renewed appreciation for the mysteries of the natural world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure sharing these fascinating insights with you.
Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and never stop learning.